Would you view a guy like Artur Beterbiev as probably your toughest fight? Because I was talking to your dad the other day. He was like, he's really confident. You're fighting everybody. He was like, but he can't lie. Beterbiev is a really tough fight.
He's a tough fighter.
He
He's a
punches
top
really
dog.
hard.
He's a top dog, and just the way he took Joe Smith apart was amazing. So I give him all his. He's a great fighter.
Boxing legend Jose Benavidez Sr. shockingly called out the undisputed king Artur Beterbiev for a fight with his son David Benavidez. On the other hand, the recently crowned undisputed light heavyweight king Artur Beterbiev said that he welcomes David Benavidez in the 175-pound division and is open for a challenge.
When David Benavidez scored a big victory over Demetrius Andrade, he said, if I can't fight Canelo, maybe I'll go to 175 and fight Beterbiev. How did you respond when you heard that?
You know, when I'm focused for Callum Smith. Now, if he want to go up for our category, he can do it, no problem.
Beterbiev has no shortage of opponents, but he stays humble and said, "For me, boxing is my job, and I do my job the best way I can." On the contrary, David Benavidez shared that Beterbiev poses a much bigger threat for him than Dimitri Bivol.
Who do you think poses the harder fight for you between Bivol and Beterbiev? Who presents the more difficult fight?
David Benavidez commented that Bivol is more of a complete fighter since he moves a lot and has a good set of skills. On the other hand, Beterbiev is more of a puncher and a brawler, but he is really flat-footed, so he gets hit easily. In addition, Jose Benavidez Sr., the trainer and father of David Benavidez, shared that he wants his son to fight Artur Beterbiev after David has fought Morrell. Jose Sr. added, "Hopefully we can get an opportunity to fight Beterbiev. He just won on Saturday, so hopefully we can get that, but right now we're focused on David Morrell. We got to look impressive in order to go to the next level." Meanwhile, Lonnie B has been sparring with both Beterbiev and David Benavidez. Lonnie shared that David Benavidez is not ready for Artur Beterbiev, and he is surprised why Artur isn't the best boxer in the world since he has a 100% knockout ratio excluding his fight with Bivol.
Beterbiev and David, because you've been in the ring with
both of them.
Yeah,
oh,
so,
man.
I mean...
Oh, man, Arthur, and I like David, but David ain't ready for that.
Really?
In my opinion. You
wow.
know, like, okay, I'm gonna tell you why I think this. I'm just gonna educate the boxing people, right? You look at Arthur. It's just insulting that he's not number one on the pound for pound list.
Damn, over Bud, over Inoue, over...
Yeah, listen, he has a 100% knockout ratio. Knocking out real guys. If you look at his resume, knocked out Divorce Cloud with 5 professional fights.
Furthermore, Lonnie B shared that Artur has put down guys like Alexander Gvozdyk and Marcus Brown, who are huge light heavyweights. Opponents like Joe Smith Jr. had never been down, but Beterbiev ended the fight in just 2 rounds and made them look like a joke. Before Beterbiev's fight with Bivol, Lonnie predicted that Artur could knock Dimitri Bivol out faster than he did Joe Smith Jr. Lonnie B further commented on the incredible strength that Beterbiev possesses. Artur's pressure is totally different, and he's physically an animal, he's physically strong, and Artur ain't gonna slow down like Joe Smith did. And if I ain't gonna say if they ever fight, when Artur catch him over, I promise you. On the other hand, David Benavidez said that Beterbiev is breaking down as time passes by, and he does a lot of heavy lifting, which breaks down the body faster.
Bivol is a great boxer and he has punching power. And then Beterbiev, I think he's a little bit older. You know, I think his body's breaking down a little bit. He works really hard. I don't take nothing away from him, but he does a lot of weights. And in boxing, when you do too much weights like that, that's when you start to break down more. So I'm leaning a little bit more towards Bivol.
Meanwhile, Benavidez Sr. talked about David Benavidez's next opponent as he added, David's next fight is David Morrell. Everyone is super excited about it. We've been trying to make that fight for 3 years. But I believe David Morrell needed a little more experience to show the world that he deserves this fight. Jose Sr. further commented on how the fight between his son and David Morrell got made. David called him and said, "Hey, I want to make this fight. Let's make it happen." It got made right away. I'm super excited about fighting a young talent, a strong fighter, and I think it's going to be a tough fight. Additionally, Lonnie B shared that his father was reluctant to letting him spar with Artur Beterbiev since he knew about his power. Similarly, the interviewer from Fight Hub TV could not believe the power of Beterbiev when he was hitting the bag in the gym.
Well, I mean, I definitely can say when I was at the Goshchuk fight in Philly, when they did unification, I've been to heavyweight fights, I've seen Wilder, you know, I mean, I hear the punches ringside of heavyweights. Right. But when he was punching Goshchuk, those punches stood out, like, to a point where I couldn't believe. So, I mean, that's me hearing the punches. What did it, I don't want to say feel, but like...
You want me to tell you what it feel like? Listen, I'll tell you a story. When I first sparred with Arthur, my pops, like, he's my boxing father. Like, he said, and he's like a father figure. He's been there for me since I was 16. But, yo, he told me, now, all my years of boxing, I sparred with Cal Frock, Chad Dawson, Lucian Butte, Troy Ross, like real champions.
You fought Kovalev.
I fought Kovalev.
Yeah.
And when he saw him, he said, I said, they called me to go spar with him. He said, and my pops, he know who I am. He know I get a, when it comes to boxing, I love boxing. Like, I really think I'm the best. So he said, he tried to let me down easy. He said, nah, you don't need that. We don't need that. You know what I'm saying? We don't need that.
Lonnie B commented that his father never turned down any sparring partner for him, but Beterbiev was different. Despite his father's warning, Lonnie went to spar with Beterbiev. Lonnie B said, "Mind you, out of 15 years of boxing, he's never turned down no work." I said, "So he that strong?" He said, "Well, he tough." I'm like, "What you mean tough?" He's like really tough. I'm like, "What's really tough?" He said he's like super tough. I'm like, "I'm going to spar with him." Furthermore, Lonnie B shared what it felt like to get hit by Artur Beterbiev's punches. Lonnie almost died and descended to heaven when he got hit by his punch.
Bell ring, ding dong, the bell ring. I'm like, all right, cool. So I hit it with my pump fake, hit it with the pump fake, hit it with the pump fake, then threw a jab and he came over it. Yo, it felt like, you ever get on an airplane and you pulling off and you like, it felt like when he hit me, it felt like I was on an airplane pulling off. Like I felt like I was like I was descending into heaven. I'm like, I'm about to meet the Lord. Stop. Yes, I'm about to meet the Lord. Oh, I'm not. I'm still on the ground. Like, and Mark was like, "You okay?" And I was like, "Am I?" I was trying to see if I was still alive. I'm like, I can feel myself, but maybe I'm in heaven. Maybe I don't.
After Beterbiev's win over Dmitry Bivol, Sean Zittel declared that David Benavidez can win against Artur. Sean explained that Beterbiev has a lot of power and he is a front foot fighter, so he will be going into the power of David Benavidez head on.
Hey, what's up everybody? It's your man Sean Zittel, and I thought I'd follow up on that post I had yesterday where I think David Benavidez can stop Artur Beterbiev. And, you know, it got met with a lot of dismissal and people scoffing and making fun. But, you know, just to start, styles make fights. And I do think that Beterbiev is a guy, unlike Caleb Plant, unlike Demetrius Andrade and Alexander Gvozdyk, that is going to move into the power. He's a front foot fighter. He can move any direction, but he's primarily more of a front foot fighter.
Sean Zittel further commented how Benavidez has a good chance against Beterbiev. He said, "I think Benavidez is 12 years younger." Well, that's a fact. He is 12 years younger, and I definitely think he has the better hand speed, and I think he's still a puncher. You know, not all punchers are created equal. Canelo Alvarez might hit a little harder than David Benavidez. I suspect he does. But Dmitry Bivol said that Canelo Alvarez also hits harder punch for punch than Artur Beterbiev. Additionally, Sean Zittel thinks that Benavidez has enough power to subdue Beterbiev because he is not like Caleb Plant or Alexander Gvozdyk since he fights head on. In addition, David Benavidez himself thinks that Artur Beterbiev is the best man at 175 and claimed that he needed to get some fights in order to face Artur.
Would you view a guy like Artur Beterbiev as probably your toughest fight? Because I was talking to you that the other day. He was like, he's really confident. You're fighting everybody. He was like, but he can't lie. Beterbiev is a really tough fight.
He's a tough fighter.
He
He's a
punches
top
really
dog.
hard.
He's a top dog, and just the way he took Joe Smith apart was amazing. So I give him all his. He's a great fighter, you know what I mean? So I feel like...
Would he be the toughest guy for
to
you?
175, I think I would have to get a couple fights before I get a fight with him. You know what I mean? Because he's the top dog. I got to show respect where respect is due. You know?
Furthermore, Jose Benavidez Sr. said that David Benavidez will be staying at 175 pounds in order to make the biggest fights possible, since 168 pounds is out of the question. Jose Sr. shared that Canelo doesn't want to fight David Benavidez because he is 25 pounds heavy, but he fought Edgar Berlanga, who was even heavier at the fight night.
Well, that's the plan right now. There's nothing we can do at 168. There's nobody that we can fight at 68. Only Canelo. He doesn't want to take that fight. He wants $200 million to face David. I think that's ridiculous, you know. First, he was saying that David only offers 25 pounds the day of the fight, and he fought Berlanga, came out at 200 pounds. So yeah. I don't know what to tell you about that. You know, we're here trying to prove ourselves and continue working hard and looking for those opportunities.
However, Benavidez Sr. is confident that his son would stay at 175 and defeat Beterbiev. As per Jose Sr.'s interview with the Boxing Scene, he stated, "He's a very dangerous fighter, but David is ready to take this challenge and make history in both weights." Jose Sr. also expressed that even though Beterbiev is a formidable fighter, he has aged and is not as much of a threat to Benavidez as one would assume. He adds, "He's a fucking animal, but you gotta understand, he's almost 40 years old, bro." Jose Sr. further explained that getting Beterbiev to fight David Benavidez would be easy since Bivol or Beterbiev are not like Canelo Alvarez. They don't have entire organizations supporting them and avoiding fights with mandatories.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's an easy fight to make, I believe, because Canelo has so much power, and we've seen that with the organizations. I don't think Bivol or Beterbiev have that power.
That's rare.
So I think, and these guys will fight anybody. So I think that's an easy fight to make, you know.
Even though there may be many pros favoring Benavidez, Canelo Alvarez recently slammed David Benavidez for his lackluster performance against Alexander Gvozdyk, proving his animosity against the Titan David Benavidez. Canelo commented, "I think that's his weight class, 175 lbs, and you can see he's very different. He can't do nothing with a fighter who retired in 2019. It's different when you're in your weight class and fighting with guys in your weight." In addition, the baddest man to ever live, who is Mike Tyson, weighed in on Benavidez's fighting style. In one of the episodes of his podcast, the former heavyweight champion stated this about Benavidez: "He's a killer. He's a killer. He ain't got no finesse or stuff. He constantly hit, consistent, most dangerous. He ain't gonna stop." It is safe to say that the legendary boxer is fond of Benavidez and his skill set. On the contrary, Caleb Plant shared that David Benavidez is an exciting fighter and he may have a good chance at beating Beterbiev. Caleb said that people will definitely tune into that fight if it ever happens.
Do you think he's got what it takes to maybe surprise some people and beat the winner of that fight?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I can't say for sure. You know, he's naturally a bigger boy, but at the same time, you know, he just got the weight class, so who knows if there needs to be any time. You know, I don't put nothing past him. No, you know, he's a real good fighter. So he's a great fighter. So it'd be interesting for sure. I'm sure people tune in.
Have you seen him?
Caleb Plant commented on the fighting style that Beterbiev possesses and complimented him for his talents. Caleb added, "I think he's an underrated boxer as well. He's got a good jab, and you know, he doesn't telegraph his punches. He knows about positioning in the ring. You know, he's good at almost like drawing a fighter to him, and then he'll turn him and put them on the ropes. A little more, not as bouncy as Bivol, but you know, still light on his feet, quick hands." Moreover, former boxer Chris Algieri supported Benavidez and his team by saying that it's a smart move to move up in weight and face the winner of the Bivol versus Beterbiev bout. Chris further said that they shouldn't wait for Canelo.
Great, but who's left out of this? David Benavidez, of course, looks like he's moving on to the winner of Beterbiev versus Bivol, of course, later this year. The right move, of course, he's not waiting around for Canelo, but he's moving to take on the winner of a fight. There's going to be a rematch clause in this fight. So once again, a lot of bumps in the road. Chris, you are brimming with emotion. What do you want to say?
Listen, I love the way David Benavidez and his team are moving. They're masters of their own fate. They're not waiting around for Canelo. You know, he keeps saying it. He keeps making the move, listen, I'm going to go to 75. I'm going to fight so and so. Now I'm going to say I knew he wasn't coming back to 68. I'm going to say it's 75. I'm going to get the winner.
David Benavidez's promoter claimed that they will be taking on Beterbiev next year on Canelo Alvarez's Cinco de Mayo date in May 2025, which seems to be a really cunning move by David's team. They are aiming to go head-to-head with Canelo. Boxing enthusiasts were confused at Benavidez fighting on the same date as Canelo, so one fan posted, "So instead of fighting Canelo, he wants to fight on a day when Canelo wants to fight. Make it make sense." Another boxing enthusiast tried to make sense of the horrible mix-up by saying, Benavidez is likely looking at another year of waiting to fight for the title. We're likely going to see a Bivol versus Beterbiev rematch after they meet, which will benefit Benavidez because it will give him another fight to get used to the weight. Hopefully, he finally gets his shot at another title. Previously, former boxer Paulie Malignaggi suggested that even if Benavidez moves up in weight and faces other opponents, there is still David Morrell that Canelo needs to worry about. Paulie further explained the irony behind Canelo ducking Benavidez. Morrell is not going to be able to get a title shot at 68 either, because once Canelo is done ducking Benavidez, he's still going to have Morrell around, who's going to be your top contender, and he's not going to fight him either. So you know he's going to be in the same predicament, unfortunately. So this guy is going to go down in history as the top two biggest ducks in the history of boxing as a champion. Additionally, fans hope to see Benavidez fight Morrell because that would be a huge fight involving two top 175-pounders. The winner would be able to fight with the undisputed Artur Beterbiev. He may move up to cruiserweight after he's victorious in his 4-belt clash against Dimitri Bivol. David's promoter Samson added his comments on the choice of fighter. Let me put it this way, the promoter of David Morrell is my lawyer for 30 years, so it would be a conflict of interest to represent me. So I'm out of the deal. I don't know who Benavidez is fighting next and who will be next. For this particular fight, I'm not involved. Coach Bredman is a huge Beterbiev fan, but even he thinks that Artur Beterbiev is going to have trouble from now on since he couldn't knock out Bivol.
This fight, which is Beterbiev. If they didn't go that route for the rematch, which I'm pretty sure they probably will, what do you think? How does Benavidez deal with guys like that? Beterbiev to be specifically.
I'm going to tell you something, because I'm a big Beterbiev fan. I'm going to tell you something, though. In boxing, this always happens. Once a guy shows a little chink, once a guy shows that night where you're like, wait a minute. Because before maybe he showed the chink, but he got a stoppage. This time he showed the chink. Not only didn't get the stoppage, but people think that a lot of people think the other guy beat him. So I'm going to say that things are going to be harder for Beterbiev from now on out.
Coach Bredman said that opponents will have more hope when they fight Beterbiev. As he explained, guys are going to fight him with, I'm telling you, Mill, I'm telling you, bro, listen to what I am telling you. They see a little bit of a weakness. They have this 4-letter word that's a big-ass word, but it's only 4 letters. They have more hope. They fight a little bit harder. It is expected that Bivol and Beterbiev would be having an immediate rematch. The worst nightmare for Benavidez would be Beterbiev losing the rematch with Bivol, and then the two fighters meeting in a trilogy. Benavidez would have to wait for the third fight to happen between those guys before he'd get a crack at the belts. Do you think David Benavidez can win against Beterbiev? Who do you see stopping the other one first? We would love to hear your thoughts. Let us know in the comments section below and subscribe for more content like this.